Okay. We are back with the Liars Society, and we are on chapter 7, Weatherby. Mom is late to pick me up when she finally pulls around the circle in front of Butler House. She's on a work call, and I don't mind that much, or maybe I'm just used to her job. Mom runs her own public relations business, and sometimes there's no one else who can fill in for her. I'm grateful she doesn't notice my wet hair because I don't want to talk about practice. Mom won't understand. She doesn't get sailing. That's a dad thing. Or it would be if he were here. It takes less than 10 minutes to get from a tall, manicured hedges, the big gate outside the Boston school, to our one floor, two bedroom condo in Lakeview Woods, which does not actually have a lake view. Not even close. The lake is a 10-minute walk away. I feel an instant relief whenever Mom pulls off campus, and before I can unzip my backpack to take out my phone, I hear buzzing and beeping from inside the front pocket. My chest feels as tight as I realized my phone was on all day, but no alerts or messages got through to me. No one at school was on their phones either. Until now, I thought everyone was being careful about following the rules, but maybe the signals are somehow blocked. I've spent the day in another world. The way that things work at Boston is different. The rules, the traditions, even the words that we use make everything sound special. The parent pickup line is the circle. The gym is a field house, and the cafeteria is a dining hall. You can't just walk in and know your way around. Nothing works the same in there as it does out here. After Mom pulls up in front of our condo and parks the car, I follow the path of colorful flowers, r- rhododendrons, lilacs, and peonies in our front door. I feel like I can breathe again, and when I do, the air smells like a mix of must and sweet pine and plastic burning. I turn, and in the distance, it looks like there's a cloud of smoke above the trees. Is that a fire? I ask Mom. He's finally off the phone. Should I call 911? Mom turns around to look, and then I hear sirens and some red lights flashing over by the smoke. Looks like the fire department is already there taking care of the situation, she says, then wraps her arms around me and pulls me close. Now tell me about your first day. It was hard. My words barely make it out. Mom hugs me tighter, and I sink into her, letting my body sag in relief, and I'm crying salty lake water tears. First days are always like that. Her voice is, "You'll feel better inside." And she's right. Our mudroom smells like cinnamon and home. I love our house. Mom's best friend from middle school, Caden, is now a celebrity interior designer in LA. So when we moved in 3 years ago, she rearranged her schedule to help us turn that white box into a place with style. And she spent 3 glorious days touring vintage and antique shops and loading a truck with everything colorful and comfortable. Caden hung art and organized the pantry. She stayed until our condo felt like home. And over spring break, Mom let me go back to these stores and add a few Caden approved touches. A small painting of a sailboat, a tabaret table. I don't take off my coat right away. I'm still cold and a little shaky from the water, and Mom doesn't notice. She's lost in her email, and dinner is in a paper bag on the counter from luncheon. Mom has been friends with the owner's son, Nick, since they were kids, so he makes her meals when Mom can't. Sorry, sweetheart, Mom glances at me. I just need to finish this one thing, and then we'll eat, I promise. It'll be quick. No big deal, I say. Thanks, Mom. She sits down at the table, and her thumbs start to speed up, ducking and dodging and dancing around each other. Mom is in her navy work dress, and her hair is thick, perfectly styled, cut to her collarbone. Everyone says that we look alike. It's meant to be a compliment. I sort of see what they meant. We're both tall, with heart-shaped faces, but Mom has soft features and blue eyes that remind me of the ocean in Maine. I don't have that kind of face. My cheeks are bigger, my nose is sharper, and my eyes are deep brown like Dad's. I've seen this picture, an old headshot at the University of Bern website from when he used to work there. Mom's phone rings again, too loud like a siren. Everything is an emergency. Genevieve Walker, Mom answers, disappearing into the hall. I open the bag on the counter because I'm starting to get hungry, and I smile whenever I see breakfast for dinner, my favorite meal for my first day. I reach inside and I pull out big fluffy pancakes, a crispy vegetable hash, avocado toast, berries, and a note. Preheat the oven. Be good. Nick. I turn on the oven, slide the hash inside, and set the timer with an extra 6 minutes to offset the fact that I ignored the preheat part. As I sit down at the table and open up my thick Latin textbook, my legs ache bruised from the boat, and there's a stabbing pain in my hamstrings, and suddenly I feel like I'm trapped underwater again, coughing and choking on nothing, trying to remember how to breathe. I grit my teeth, and the only thought in my head right now is that I'm so much better than I sailed today. I lift my chin high and breathe in deep. There's no chance that I'm going to let Jack Hunt think that he's right about me. I was lucky that day at the regatta, but luck isn't enough. I want more. I don't just want to stay. I want to win. I'm going to earn my spot in boat one. Everything okay? Mom asks as she slides into her chair. She's looking at me now. Her phone is on the table and I have her attention. This is my chance to ask. Did Dad ever tell you anything about his Boston school trip to Hart Isle? I don't think so. Mom shifts in her seat. But I got an email from Boston about your trip and they sent over a packing list. A smile wide. I hope I get into the same hall as Dad. That would be so cool. Teddy says that they usually try to keep families together. Teddy? Mom arches a brow. Is that a new friend? I bite my lip and nod. Yeah, I think so. That's great, honey. Mom says, a little too eager to hear someone wants to be my friend, and I can tell that she's trying to change the subject away from Dad. I'm only allowed to ask about Dad's work and school. I'm not supposed to ask about his family. They're not good people. They're the reason my parents never got married, and Mom didn't want his family to be her family, and I get that. She's trying to protect me. But when I'm 18, I'm going to Switzerland to find them. And that's where they live now, and they moved back around the time that Dad did. And I want to know the things about Dad, and most of the time, Mom can't even give me that. That's why I don't tell her about Dad's journal being delivered to me. Normally, I don't keep secrets from Mom, but she never talks to me about Dad, and for once, I don't feel like talking to her about Dad either. Except now, I really want answers, so I try again. You're sure Dad never told you anything about Hard Owl? Mom swallows like she's trying hard and then shakes her head. I sigh loudly. I just want to know who he was and what he was like so I can know how I'm like him or not, I say. I've told Mom all this before. Weatherby, you get to decide who you want to be. Mom says back, no one else. He doesn't just determine you. Mom doesn't think Dad should matter. She wants to be enough for me. Most of the time she is, but Mom grew up with both of her parents. She doesn't get why I have so many questions. She doesn't understand what it feels like to know things about your own family. I'm tired, honey. I had a long day. Can we take a break from talking about your dad? I swallow. Sure. Mom is always tired when I want to talk about Dad. It's not fair. Beep beep. Mom stands up and walks over to the oven and takes out the hash. She warms up the pancakes, brings everything to the table, and then she sits down again and we both serve ourselves. Then she holds up her cup. I clink my Boston School boxed alkaline water against her mug. It's truce. She takes a bite. I do too. It's crispy and salty and a little sweet. Mom smiles at me. You're right. Breakfast for dinner really is the best. I smile back and try to get the good parts of Mom matter more than the ones that I don't understand because I know that she isn't trying to hurt me, but by not talking about Dad. That has to count for something. And when I'm done with my homework, I go down the hall to my room and close the door and collapse into my bed. Everything I did last week in my old version of normal, going to South Middle, sailing with Skip, running my own experiments feels so far away. I've been doing labs at home for a year. Ever since the construction started at South Middle, my classes got moved to the annex, and our lab hours were cut. I didn't want to fall behind in science, so I kept practicing by myself. But for now, for as long as I'm at Boston, science can go back to being fun. I reach under my mattress, taking out Dad's journal, and I wish that I could tell him how badly I messed up at sailing practice. I wonder what he'd say. I bet he'd know how to make me feel better. Before Hart Isle, he was always doubting himself, too. If Dad were here, I wouldn't feel so alone. I'm not sure if you're allowed to miss someone that you've never met, but I do. I'm careful as I open the weathered hunter green moleskin, and I start turning the thin lined pages, flipping to the part where Dad talks about Hart Isle because I'm going to be there in 3 weeks. The view was like nothing I'd ever seen in my life. It was better than Galapagos. Galap- Even Gus, who's never liked hiking or beautiful places, has been shocked. As soon as we start walking along the trail on Pine, I felt like we were climbing higher and higher, heading nowhere in circles through an enormous maze. For so long, we saw nothing but golden hydrangeas and evergreens until our path opened into a rocky cliff and the ocean was in front of us, sparkling on all sides. I felt the air in my face. Hart Isle was the coolest place that I've ever been. I decided to go off trail, following a nearly invisible, unnamed path until I got to a strange metal fence. I hopped over the other side and kept going, even after the path ended and the brush started to scratch my legs until I reached a dead end, a line of thick evergreens. I pulled apart the sticky bristles, fighting my way through the branches to see the other side, and the sight in front of me stopped me in my tracks. I stood there, unable to move, staring out, letting the view sink in. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. In that moment, something in me changed forever. And that's where the page ends. The next page is torn out. There are a bunch of pages like that. Some are numbered and stuck in the back. This one is just missing. I close my eyes and start to imagine the incredible waterfall or human enclave or natural resource Dad saw that day. I can almost smell the salty air and feel the breeze. In my mind, there's a shimmering water all around me, like he described. I hold on tight to his words and picture myself at Heart Isle, walking the same paths as him. It's so close. I'm almost there. And that was chapter 7.